the second episode of my mini series, and today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. Uh, this is right up my alley because I'm in the finance space as well, but it was very important to bring in somebody that is someone that has like really vast knowledge on accounting, finance, and just talk to us about how we can grow ourselves in terms of our finances and put really good finance decisions in place because you might not know, but this is one of the biggest form of abuse. But before we even get into it, let me start by saying a very big thank you to Florence. Do you prefer Florence or Danny?
I actually prefer Dami.
Really? Okay. All
But
right.
anyone that comes is fine, but I prefer Dami.
I'm actually very comfortable with Danny. I was very surprised when I heard that you were Florence as well. So I think
I,
that was good stuff.
yeah. Actually, my first name is Florence, but I prefer to be called Dami. So everybody call me Dami. So please feel free to call me Dami.
Okay. Thank you so much, Danny. To be honest, I think that everybody that has joined me thus far. So earlier today, I had a lawyer joining, Mrs. Mama, and she's just amazing, really. And everybody that has joined had just really squeezed me in, and I know it was very inconvenient, very last minute. Um, for those who don't know, I would say we tried it last night, but it didn't work. It was like Nigeria and everything was against us, but we decided to try again, and I'm very very I'm just really, really super grateful. But before we go in, please, David, tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Okay, my name is Damilola Olatubosun, and my 9 to 5, I work as a financial advisor at one of the leading financial literacy platform in Nigeria, Money Africa. At night, I build accounts, a platform that helps small and medium scale businesses to put together their book in terms of accounting, compliance wise, and ensure that they're actually ready for investment. Of course, also to help them scale. And if I'm not advising people on how to grow their money, how to invest their money, I'm building accounts. If I'm not doing any of that, I'm either reading or I'm hiking.
You are hiking. That's very interesting. You love to
Yeah.
hike.
Yeah, I
I
love to
swear.
hike. Not necessarily for the stress of hiking. When anybody have gone on hiking will know that it's not that easy climbing and all. But the fact is that after going through the whole stress, when you get to the view, when view is nice, so the view takes away the pain of hiking. So I enjoy the view. So because of that, I endure the pain of hiking.
Wow. I tried hiking once, and let me just say it, I'll never do it again in my life. Uh, so, and then we talked about accounts. Account is family. So, if you are a small business owner, you own a business, whatever sector you are in, whatever stage, I believe me, and you're trying to set your finance structure. Account is your go-to, right? So please reach out to Danny. When we put up the video in my social media, I will be tagging Danny. Reach out to Danny. If you are a business owner and you are trying to put up structures regarding the finance and compliance. So yes, that's about it. So we just get right into why we are here, right? So to start us off, right, I want you to speak on or describe what it means, economic or finance abuse, right? What does it mean to you in simple terms?
Okay. So before defining, I think I would like to share a story. Someone called me yesterday and was like, "Hey, Dami, this is what happened." So I'm going to share this story on the platform. So a lady reached out to me. I was like, she's currently in a financial situation. Um, I'll take away the backstory in terms of her husband got a loan, and after getting a loan, they were able to pay back, and then the account officer was like, "Oh, they should take additional loan or using their account." And fast forward to everything when the account officer was unable to pay back, because the fund was after the fund got to the account, the fund was transferred to his wife's account. So when at the end of it, the account officer said that they should tell the police that the person that took the loan is the husband, is the wife, and not the husband. So for me, that signals financial abuse because you you're using resources to actually limit someone else's ability to make decision. So to define financial abuse or economic abuse, I would define it as a situation whereby someone with influence or someone with resources limit or dominate over behavior and freedom, simply just limiting someone else's ability to make independent decision. That is economic or financial abuse.
Wow, that is so profound. I see the stories we hear, when it comes to things like this, it's just always mind blowing. Like, how do you take a loan and now say, "Oh, I'm unable to repay," and there's a problem? You're saying, "Oh, say it's your wife." Like,
Like
if
it's
we start talking about this issue, we would not move on. We
yes,
would
so
not move
like
on because
we will
it's
not
just
move
so
on. Like
frustrating.
yeah.
So this is we've established the fact that this is one of the biggest form of abuse, right? So why would you say this financial abuse is often overlooked or not recognized early?
I think one of the reasons why it's not recognized early is because one, people tend to shy away from money conversation. So you're
Mm,
dating somebody during the phase whereby you're dating the person, you guys really don't have money conversation. When it's time to make payments, you either just make the payment yourself or just shy away from financial conversation. And of course, we are in the African setting always we believe that, oh, the husband should provide, the husband should do this. And because of that, when the person is being domineering, when the person is trying to influence, when the person is trying to restrict your choices, you just feel that, oh, that is coming from the African background, not necessarily
mm,
because the person is trying to abuse you. And because of these two factors, the fact that we're in the African culture, and because of course people shy away from money conversation, people don't discover it early, and it is what it is.
you are absolutely right to say that most times the reasons why we don't pick this thing up is because it's in our head. I mean, the man is in control, so he should be in control of the finances, and especially if you are limited, right? You are either not working, you are earning way lesser than he is. You don't really have a say when it comes to financing. And we'll get into all this, and we'll get into it later. But I think that this explains some of the red flags, right? So let's just list out some. If you can just list out some any red flags you think women try to dismiss or even normalize, because I mean we've been normalizing things that are wrong these days, and you're like, excuse me, where? So if you can just
Okay.
list out things that we should know of, please.
Okay, so I'd like to I think I'll like to start with the popular one that happened a few years ago of a lady that she was the one working, and guess what? The husband was the one enjoying all the benefit that comes with the work she was doing. So one major sign of financial control is when you're working and then maybe your partner or another person is benefiting almost 100% the benefit that is associated with the work done. Another signals red flag is when someone controls your decision. using resources. So the person tells you that, oh, I want you to do this for me. If you don't do this for me, I'm not going to give you this. So the person is actually
Wow.
constraining you, the person is limiting you, the person is not allowing you to make your decision based on your own feeling or based on independence of them. So that is like
Mm-hmm.
another red flag. Then I think another way we can identify that can be like a red flag and financial abuse is when your partner does not necessarily involve you in the decision making as it relates to maybe the economy of the family or or the finance of the family. When they don't relate to you, that is another red flag. Then the popular one that we see is when the person restricts you from working, because the person
Oh,
knows that, of course, when you're working, you're definitely going to earn resource, you're definitely going to get paid, you're going to get resources, and when you get these resources, you will be able to make some choices independent of the other person. So that is
oh,
another. I think the last one I'd like to talk about is when they monitor and control your spending. So we've heard stories, we've seen situations whereby people tell you that, oh, okay, you're the one working, but then you give after at the end of the month, you take your money and you give it to your partner, and then your partner will tell you, oh, you can buy this, you can buy this, you can do this. You can. Of course, I'm an advocate of having conversation and you guys deciding together on how to spend your money, like plan your money together. But a situation whereby someone start monitoring and controlling your spending, that is a form of financial abuse.
I think that you are so spot on. So I remember that I heard a story. I can't remember where now, where the woman was saying, "Oh, I don't want to." Something happened at home, and somebody was telling her, "You should talk about it as a couple now. This thing happened, and you're quiet about it." You got, and she was like, "Anytime that they quarrel or have even any issue at all, the man just limits. She doesn't work, right? She doesn't do anything. She's a stay-at-home mom. He limits the amount of money that he gives them for allowance.
Upkeep.
So yeah, so he's trying to punish her because, oh, we have an issue. There is a quarrel. You are trying to punish me. By the way, they have kids, right? So he's going to significantly slash that upkeep down, right? Because of there is an issue. And I'm like, how? Why would you even think of, okay, like we've been hearing stories and you are wondering like, for crying out loud, and you raised a very important conversation that most times they tell you, oh, don't work. It's not because, and I think women always hear, oh, he told me not to work. He said he's going to pay me. He's going to what's it called, and I'm just going to be at home, slave queen. And I'm always like, run. So
You,
you're
you
not
know
doing anything.
You know something for me, like for me, funny thing, I was having this conversation around working, building your career as a married woman, raising your kids, and with my younger sister, and she said something profound. She was like, to be honest, if she have a way, she will not necessarily pursue the 9 to 5 career. That all she just wants for herself is she just wants to just have a small business. She's managing a small business. She has actually have a fashion house that she's just managing a fashion house. Her staff knows what to do. So in the morning, she's able to take care of her husband, get her children ready, and when it's around maybe past 10 or past 11, she walk into her store, she supervise what her staff have done, and then maybe around 3 o'clock or 4 before the children comes back home, she gets back home, she takes care of them. That is the life she wants for herself. And so to come back to our conversation, I would like to say this, that people should I feel the line should not be that we should clearly state it that when your partner starts restricting you from working, I feel that is where maybe there might be an issue. If you make the decision or because of what the goals that you're trying to achieve, maybe the way your
Mm-hmm.
family is set up, you guys agree that, oh, we I think maybe one of us have to stay back at home to be able to do this while the other person goes out there to make the bread, then that makes sense, right? But if it is just someone imposing without even considering your own needs or what you want to achieve, I feel that is where the abuse is coming in. But if it's a joint decision, then of course it's fine.
Okay, so me, I'm not against the idea of oh, as a woman, you have to work, you have to what's it called? Some women they like being a career woman, right? They like 9 to 5. Other women are business business savvy. I want to build my business. Other women say, oh, you know what? I want to chill. But like you said, right? I have to have my decisions of what I want. This is what I want, right? And we are having a conversation, but you are not trying to impose on me or imply that I must do exactly as you want. That's where the problem
Yes.
is,
Yes, I
right? That's
agree. I
where the
agree
problem
with you.
is. So I think that every man to what they want, right? If this is how you want to, who am I to say you must lead it like me, right? So every woman has like how they want to lead, what they want to do, beautiful. But if you are saying that I must follow you, right, and it's now like do or die. That's where I come in and say, this is now becoming an issue, right? But my only issue with I don't want to do anything is how do you now have like how do you now make how do you take care of yourself? Let's even start with that. How do you take care of yourself, right? How do you spend? What if okay, let's just assume that you don't even have a partner that's abusing you financially, right? What if there is an emergency that you need? And I'm not even saying an emergency in terms of okay, your husband loses his job or something happens to his business. What if there is no connection, right? You need something urgently at the time, right? What do you do in cases like that? What do you do in cases like that? People have businesses and they are not they are not even like in their faces like every day I'm going. They have like a time where they sit down or from this time to this time it's time for my business. I do this in this time. I can go back to being a wife. I can go back to being a mother after that time. But to say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, that's where I have an issue.
You draw the
I don't agree.
line.
Yeah, I don't agree with women who say things like that because in this day and age, right, and not everything is in your control. Things happen, right? Things happen. So that's where I'm like, oh no, I don't agree with you. But then again, I mean, everybody um,
They have their choices.
back to back to financial abuse and back to our conversation, right? How and I want to ask this question, and I'm looking for a. I'm trying to be careful with my words, right? So, how do you think power dynamics like around money shape? Okay, I'm trying to rephrase the question, right?
Okay, no problem.
Okay, let's put it like this. Beyond the obvious signs that we know of, like we've mentioned, um, I'll keep the accounts. Don't worry, I'll handle everything. All those things. What subtle or hidden forms can economic violence, take?
Okay, so subtle ways or hidden form economic violence can take. I think I think the major thing for me is it boils down to how money can actually influence decision making, how it can influence freedom, and how it can influence autonomy in any relationship that we find yourself. And to be honest, when one partner controls the finances, they tend to control like the major life choices. They control where you guys are staying. They'll control even the schools your children goes to. They'll control what you eat. They'll control how you take care of yourself and even your loved ones, right? So they'll control where you live. They'll control virtually everything. So for me, it's it kind of creates a form of emotional psychological dependence that if that person is not there you can't actually live your life, right? Right now we are currently having a conversation. At the end of this conversation I can decide to like, oh, I think I want to get something for myself and then I order it because of I am financially independent. But if that is not the case,
Yeah.
I have to ensure that I am in a good relationship with my partner so that my partner I can easily make demands of my partner. So for me, it's kind of it silently creates a form of emotional and psychological dependency. And in this day and age, I don't really think that is like a good thing for you to have, because in the long run, what happens if your partner is not there? What are you going to do yourself? And now don't forget that you're not just the only one in the picture, you also have children in the picture. What are you going to do? So that is why we need to talk about this and we need to educate people so that they take themselves out of that situation.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello,
I
can you hear
lost you
me?
for a bit. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you now. I lost you for a
Yeah,
bit.
my internet went off. Okay, my internet went off. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so I think that you're being financially dependent, and I'm going to say it, it just it affects every area of your life.
Yes, it
When
does.
I used to back in 2024, I didn't earn as much as I do now, and I can tell you that the confidence that I have today and in really abusive relationship, and one of the key things are either my children. The second one is if I leave now, right? If I leave now, how do I take care of myself? What do I
Mm-hmm.
do? Because you're not financially dependent. You can't make choices even when you are in harmful
Yes.
situations. So I think that being financially independent, how it affects a woman's confidence, it affects your choices and even your ability to leave harmful situations, because most women are in really, really terrible relationship, but they cannot leave because they don't have the financial capacity to do so. So I was asking, from your experience, what basic financial structure you think we should put women as women we need to put in place early to protect ourselves.
Okay, so I think the first thing you need is financial literacy. You need to be able to know to make money, how to save money, and how to grow your money. So personal
Mm.
finance and financial literacy is key. And of course, Money Africa we offer that as a service. But outside that, you can also read books. I believe that I always advise people that see, just read. You can get a lot of information by just reading. If you don't want to read, there are lots of podcasts. You can listen to podcasts. So ensure that you educate yourself financial wise. Then another key thing you need to do is you need to have a job that allows you to earn, because I'm not necessarily saying you need to like make the most money, but at least you should have something known as your own. You should have some money to yourself or some money to your name, if that would make more sense. You should have some money to your name. And for me, I feel we all know about the Proverb 31 woman, the virtuous woman, and all of that. The fact is just that the fact that your husband is doing well or your husband can provide for you does not necessarily mean that you should not have your own funds. You should have your own funds. So I always advise that ensure you have your own funds. And another thing you might want to do is have a personal account. But yes, I understand that, oh, you should have like a joint account for the family, but still outside having a joint account for the family, you should also have like your personal account where your money comes in, and from the money from that account you can then fund your joint account to carry out your family goals. And then of course, keep your own personal financial document. I've seen situations whereby a lot of women are not able to leave maybe an harmful relationship, an abusive relationship, because guess what? Their husband have their passport. Their husband has access to their bank account and all of that. So you should keep your own financial document yourself, not necessarily giving it to your husband. Come on, you're an adult. Then the next thing is also have an emergency fund. When it comes to investing, we emphasize having an emergency fund. But outside investing, general wise, you should have an emergency fund because life happens. Even if your husband is supportive, your husband is not abusive, or you're not in an abusive relationship, life can happen. And when life happens, you need something to fall back on. And the only thing you can fall back on is your emergency fund. So try as much as possible that you have an emergency fund that can at least cater to at least 3 to 6 months of your living expense. So that even if anything happens, there's this I was listening to this popular preacher, Funke Adejumo, and she was like, I'm not advising that you should divorce the man, no, but at least the Bible did not say you should not leave. At least for the meantime, leave. So your emergency fund is what would help you sustain yourself should you have reason to want to leave any form of relationship. Then also personally have money conversations. I don't know why it's a bit difficult, especially in Africa. People tend to shy away from having money conversations. One of the key things I try as much as possible to advise people in relationship is that, oh, before you guys decide that, oh, you want to settle down, you guys should start talking about money, so that when you guys are in the marriage, it's not like a new thing. It's not something difficult for you guys to have. You guys should have like a money conversation. You should be open to, oh, this is how much I'm earning. For God's sake, this is somebody you want to share your life with. And if it's somebody you want to share your life with, you should be open to telling the person, oh, this is how much I'm earning, these are my living expenses, this is how much I can contribute, and all of that. So, and while you're discussing all of that, ensure that you communicate boundaries. There are some people that will tell you that, oh, my husband supports his family and does not support my family, or we have family budget and family goals that we're working towards, and then my husband takes all the money and then use it to support his family because they're experiencing one thing or the other. These are where boundaries come into place. You should set boundaries at the beginning, and apart from setting boundaries, over time, maybe after 6 months, yearly, the year is coming to an end, you should have that conversation. You should review what have we done throughout the year. What did we do good, better? What did we do? What can we do better the coming year? You should have those personal conversations. And lastly, please understand and ensure you read every document you before you sign it. I've seen situations whereby
Oh,
people just sign documents and they will not tell you that, oh, I do not know this was what I was signing. Is my husband? My husband just gave it to me, or is my wife? Okay, I won't. While it's popular, and we see this more among female, we've also seen situations whereby male also, the opposite gender also experience this. So read the document. Don't just trust blindly. Read the document. That's why you're literate, right? And if you're not literate, give it to somebody that is literate to read for you and understand what you're saying. Don't just append your signature like this, like this situation. The other woman found herself in. Imagine her husband's trying to push the whole blame on the woman. So ensure that you read all of this. These are ways you can actually protect yourself financially. Of course, there are other, but for me, these are the key things you need to do to protect yourself financially.
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
You were saying so much. I didn't even want to stop you. I just wanted you to go all out, really. And you said some really, really interesting, like very interesting things. And some that caught my attention was one, joint account is great, right? We are saving for our future, or this is where we take family spending from. But for the like for for the love of God, right? Every person should have their personal account. It- Before marriage, let me say something that is really important. This is somebody that you are spending the rest of your life with. This is what I can do. This is the percentage that is for this. This is where, you know, talk, have conversations, right? Uh, and sometimes, right, it's not like conversations like this are not being, people don't have them. Like there is this popular podcast that I was listening to, and she was saying that, oh, we spoke about this, before marriage, right? And everybody was like, he mentioned that, oh, this is the amount that I'm earning, this is the amount you are earning, right? I will take care of all these house, like the household, everything that is running for the household, all those things, right? That when it comes to cooking, cleaning of the house, this is what you are going to do. So this was the agreement before they entered marriage. So they got into the marriage. Please, can you confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So when they got into the marriage, she was like, I mean, when it comes to doing households, just running the household, cleaning, that is not me. All right. At the time when we made this, at the time when we said this, I wasn't doing anything, and so I was doing it. But now, coupled with coming from work, coming to clean the house, you know, cooking, it's very exhausting. We already made this was our, I'm going to do this. This was our agreement. Agreed to do. What I will do is, I now make enough money. I'm just going to pay money to help us do these things so that I have more free time for my family and I'm not always exhausted. And the husband said, oh, that was not part of the deal. The deal was that you are going to do it. Why are you doing this? So let me ask you, in this situation, who is right and who is wrong?
To be honest, I, from my own understanding, with I'm not married, so I might not necessarily understand the dynamics of marriage. But one key thing I understand is relationship. First thing first, I think one key thing is nothing is cast in stone when it comes to planning, when it comes to, oh,
Yeah.
this is how we are going to do this. So I feel we should always, when it comes to a situation like this, we should also always give our partner grace, right? One thing, you don't want your partner looking tired. You don't want your partner looking haggard. You don't want her looking, oh, exhausted, that she can't even have a meaningful conversation with you because she's taking care of the house. She's also working. She's taking care of the children now. She's also trying to provide support to you. So, and this, for me, these are one of the things that even result to infidelity because the woman is always tired. You, the husband, want to talk to her. She does not want. She's not ready to talk to you because she's tired, or she can't even pour to you because there's nothing in her again. She's empty. So one key thing I would advise is that you guys should just sit down. Okay, what are those areas that you can compromise on? Okay, I can compromise. Someone can come to clean, but the person will not be in charge of the cooking. The person can assist you in the kitchen, but you will still be responsible for the cooking. Okay, can I cook the meals in bulk, put in the freezer, and then we can always warm and then get someone to clean? You guys should have a conversation. I always say this, that it's a relationship. It's not as if you are dating your enemy, right? And if anything happens to you, it will definitely affect your partner. So
Mhm.
what I always say is what I'm just going to say is that the both of them should not see. It's not necessarily. It's not as if both of you are fighting. It's not that one person must come out as a winner. This is a relationship and marriage is two people coming together as one. So if she's not full self, if she's not in her full state of mind, she won't be able to contribute to that relationship. She won't be able to build that marriage. So the both of them should sit down and they should just have the conversation. They should look at those areas they can compromise on and those areas they cannot compromise on. And to answer this, I'm going to use my mom and my dad. I'm going to share a personal experience. So my mom has been up and doing. If you know my mom, she's like, all these people that she works, she takes care of the house and all of that. That's who I know my mom to be. But over time, as she grow older, she's becoming weaker. So what she does is, instead of, my dad does not eat out. He loves that my mom cook all his meals. So these days she cannot necessarily cook all the meal freshly. So what does she do? She just cook and she puts in the freezer. She buy food in bulk, she keep in the freezer, so that when she wants to cook, she does not necessarily have to go through the process of prepping the meals. The meal have been prep already. She just has to cook. And now that we are not at home, the both of them are not okay with someone coming to stay in house with them, and maybe take care of the house in terms of cleaning and all of that, and every other house chores. So what did they do? They just got someone to assist. They got someone to assist. And bear in mind, my mom, she's way past her 50, and she still goes to work. She goes to work as early as 9 o'clock. She's out of the house, and they come back home around 7 o'clock. So because of when it was taking a toll on her health, she had to like have a conversation with my dad, and she told my dad that, oh, I'll be going to work, but I will not go to work on Saturday. I'm going to use Saturday to rest. So the same thing I would want these people to do. They should just sit down. For God's sake, this is your life partner. You should sit down, have a conversation. Both of you should reach a compromise. Okay, I'm going to do this. I need more time. Okay, maybe I'm going to take time off work, or maybe I would have to change job to get a job that would allow me to have more time for the family. So you guys just have to sit down and just agree and reach a compromise. So that's my bit.
So for me, every time when we talk about relationship, and I'm also not married, I always say things like, however you treat your partner, if you treat your partner badly or poorly, what that means is that you don't see your partner as a human being. And what I'm just trying to say is, if I see my partner as another human being like me, if reverse the case, would I want to be treated like this? If you know is the answer, then why do you think it is normal to treat another
Exactly.
person? So I think that's just it. And in this case, right, she's not saying, "Oh, I'm breaking our what we agreed on." What I'm saying is, "Oh, I don't have that capacity any longer. I will not ask you for resources. Instead, I would use my own money, and we can get there, so that I am more well rested, right? And I can also even do other things at home and take care of the children better." But anyways, that is one what's it called? I think that I have like I have a lot of questions really, and we're just going to take it very fast. Um, so let's not even assume, but for women who are currently like they currently feel like financially stuck or controlled, what small or and realistic first step do you think that woman can take towards financial stability?
Okay, so I'm going to keep the answer as short as possible. The first step such woman can do is awareness, understanding that okay, this is where I am, and the next thing is what can I do to get myself out of this situation. And the only thing you can do to get yourself out of this situation is to start earning. You can look inward. What skill can you offer that you get paid for? That you can exchange for value. So looking for whatever it does not necessarily have to be anything sophisticated. You don't necessarily have to start in 9 to 5. It could be, oh, you enjoy baking. Okay, why don't you start baking for other people and not just your family member, so that you start making extra money. You enjoy knitting. Why don't you start doing it? Even if it's as little as snacks, you enjoy doing for your children, you're doing that already. You can start rendering these services to other people and you get value for it. So those are the key things. The first thing is awareness, and the next thing is try to make some money. And in the process of making the money, um, ensure remember the reason why you're doing it is for you to be financially independent. So those are my bits for anybody that is in that situation. And remember, you are not alone. Lastly, remember that you are not alone. So involve other people, people that you trust, and that can help you navigate your way out of such situation.
I would also like to add that before you get into marriage, right, um, you must not be working a 9 to 5 or anything. But just make sure you have like a skill that you can leverage. By the message of God, I am begging everybody that comes across this video. As a woman, please don't enter marriage without having a skill. Even if it's as simple as knowing how to braid hair, right? Baking, anything. It does not have to be a tech skill, designing websites or anything. Just have a skill that you can use to make money. But by the mercies of God, I am begging you because these are very important. So let's talk about investing quickly, right? So how when it comes to investment, what are just like really simple, beginner friendly things that women can consider, just to save, to have like that kind of like it more or less like a fund that I keep,
I
right?
think
Just just I will not call it. I don't want to say the word that's in my head, but what comes to short, right?
okay, okay.
How
So
do we put money aside?
side, I always say this as a young lady, even before marriage, you should have vex money. Vex money in sense that
Yeah,
if
very
something happens,
true.
you can easily just take the money out and sort yourself. But as a married person, you should have an emergency fund even before you invest. Before you, even if you want to invest your money, the key thing for you to do is to have an emergency fund. The goal of the emergency fund is that you have something to fall back on because you don't want a situation where you are liquidating your investment. And of course, there are different type of investment that you might not necessarily be able to liquidate immediately as soon as you have maybe you're in a situation. Then the next thing you want to do is there are different type of investing instruments. We have the likes of treasury bills. Treasury bills is like a risk-free investment where you can actually put your money and you get some return. So you see that money that December is coming, they'll dash you money or they'll dash your children money. That money you can gather it and put it in treasury bills and get some returns for it. And you can lock it up for 3 months, 6 months, or an entire year. Then the next thing is you can invest in mutual funds. Mutual funds, I would advise you do more the money market mutual funds. You can invest in mutual funds and you also get returns on it. So and there are other complicated instruments that you can do, like stocks, ETFs, and all of that. But for now, I think I would want to limit it to those just those two that you can do. They are easy. You don't necessarily have to worry that oh, will I lose my capital? What if I lose my capital and all of that? You can rest assured that you get your capital and you also get your return at the end of the day.
Okay, so I have just three questions before we say bye to Danny. The first one is what role do friends, family, employers, how can we support someone going through financial or economic activities? So I have a friend, and I have noticed that this woman, she's going through, she's going through abuse financially. What kind of support do you think we need to put in place for this kind of people?
I think the first it depends on the level of abuse. I think the first thing is communication. You need to help them to be aware that they are currently in that situation. If you are able to do that, then if you're able to help them to be aware that in that situation, then of course you can help them help them out of it. But situation whereby the person is we've seen situation whereby it's life threatening. At that point, you don't necessarily to start communicating to the person and telling the person, "Oh, leave this place," and all of that. At that point, you're supposed to pick the person, take the person out of it, and not necessarily try to communicate because you're trying to save that person's life. But first thing is communicate, and after communicating, also provide them with resources because just like you said during the course of our section, is that the one of the major reasons why a lot of individuals in abusive relationship don't want to leave, financial abusive relationship don't want to leave, is because they are worried about how are they going to survive if they don't leave, if they leave this situation. How will they take care of their children? How will they fund their lifestyle? So that is one of the reasons. But as a family, as a friend, even as an organization, a way you can support, if you notice that, oh, this person is in a relationship, take them out of it and give them resources to support them. If you are able to provide them with resources to support them, it will be easier for them to leave the relationship by than just merely just telling them, oh, leave, leave, leave. If you're able to support them with resources, apart from resources, also mental wise, give them like, oh, maybe take them to therapy so that they can help recondition their mind so that they can do know better and then do better.
Thank you so much. I think that was a really good answer. So one of the things that I need to really learn is how to diversify income, right? Like have multiple streams of income, right? And have a retirement plan. So Davi mentioned having Bex money. See, that one is a no-brainer. You should have that. And also having like a retirement plan, right? So if I'm not working, just in case you are working, or when I stop working, or if I decide not to work today, and I'm like, okay, I want to go take. I've been working. I want to take a year off work, right? I do that. Just having that plan, right? I'm having an emergency fund somewhere, married or not, in a relationship or not. I have something that I can bank on. It is very, very key. It is very, very important. Something that you should not pay. Another thing that I really want to talk about is upskilling yourself as a woman. Keep
That's
going.
true.
There's so much. There's so much to do. So much you can achieve. Be more. You are more. Right. Keep keep pursuing knowledge, right? Keep on upskilling. If you have like a career path or something, even if you are you are running a business, right? Say for instance you're a fashion designer. There is so much you can learn in fashion design. Don't limit yourself. Keep going for more because we know that knowledge is what brings about funds to you, right? If you know more, you can communicate your value, then you get it. So please
Um,
stop. Don't limit yourself. Please upskill. I think finally the last question I have for Danny. This is for I know you have a meeting right after. What message do you want women to take away from this session about money, about independence, about protecting themselves financially?
okay, so I think my message to every lady, every woman, every girl listening to this is that you need to be independent, not necessarily because you have an abusive partner, but for yourself and even for your loved ones. I always say this that it makes sense if you, when you leave planet Earth, you leave resources for your children. They can easily say, "Oh, this is." Do you know how nice it is when they tell you that, oh, this is our family heirloom and all of that? It makes sense. So why don't you want that for your children? So, and the only way you can achieve that is if you're financially independent, if you're financially literate, if you start investing for yourself. And outside of being in an abusive relationship, when you are financially independent, you can build your home better. You can advise your partner better. So forget the fact that, oh, abusive, somebody is being abusive, what if my partner is being controlling? If you can do better for yourself, then you can help your partner, you can help build your home better. And the good news is that if you know better as a woman, you can teach your children better. So
Mm.
at this point, you might want to. I would like to say this: you can forget about yourself, but even if you don't care about yourself, what about your offspring, your children? Don't you want them to do better? And the only way they can do better is if you know better. That is the only way you can teach your children better. So please, I would like to advise. Um, you can do better by investing in financial literacy. You can use platforms like Money Africa for your financial literacy. And apart from Money Africa, you can read books. You can read books. You can listen to podcasts. You can just get resources. There are a lot of free resources. So that instead of you doom scrolling on IG, you can go to YouTube and go and learn. So that is my advice. And I would like to run now so that I can join my meeting.
Yes, thank you so much. You mentioned read books, so you get why you can't grow knowledge without reading. Please read books. So yes, thank you so much, Danny. Thank you so much, guys. Please show Danny a lot of love. Check her out on Instagram at Flourishing D. Right. When we drop this video, I'll collaborate with you. And yes, I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Bye. See you in the next one. I have the one with the lawyer coming up right next. Bye, guys.